I'm the Director of Programs at the Appalachian Center for Economic Networks. Most people know us as ACENET. And we've been involved in a partnership since 2004 with the City of Athens and the Athens Farmers Market and many numerous other stakeholders throughout our community. More recently, we've been doing more work with the Athens Art Guild because they also co-locate and host an arts market at the Athens Farmers Market on Saturday mornings. So this has been a long journey, and many of you have watched our progress and many of the bumps in the road in terms of finding a possible permanent location for the Athens Farmers Market. We don't expect this in terms of our workshop to have perhaps signed, sealed, and delivered plan in place. This is a placemaking workshop, and we have, in our partnership with USDA funding, been able to contract with consultants that we've worked with in the past, the Project for Public Spaces. And they're going to run this workshop for us today, and it's going to give everyone in the room an opportunity to share their input as we look at possible redevelopment of the community center campus. So that's what today is about. The USDA grant that is funding a lot of this partnership work hopefully will be wrapping up at the end of this year. The Athens Farmers Market Association and ACENET have been working very diligently to put a marketing and a business plan together for the market. And we've also been working with other partners in terms of optimum uses here on the community center campus. So I hope that you'll have an opportunity to go through the morning here, learn more about creative placemaking, give your input in terms of how we can envision some changes here on the community center campus. And over time, hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll have additional information. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce our two consulting partners here from New York, from the Project for Public Spaces. And I think, Steve, you're probably going to start, and then we'll turn it over to Kelly as well. And they're going to be our guides to really walk us through the workshop today. So again, deeply appreciate your time. We're happy to have both the City of Athens producing some video. We also have a videographer from WOUB, and I know we have a number of other media in the audience as well. So I would not be surprised if people maybe ask you some questions throughout this process as well.
Thank you, Leslie. It's a pleasure to be back in Athens. This is my third trip here. This is the first time that actually snowed when I was here, so it's good. Although it felt like it might this morning. Anyway, we appreciate your time and participation this morning. This is going to be a very interactive workshop. We're going to be going out on the site. Oh, is that better? Okay. Yeah, thank you again for coming. As I was saying, this is going to be a very interactive workshop where we're going to be looking at the community center campus as a public space and how the entire campus might be improved and how a market might fit into this animated and more vital campus. So the process we're going to use today, Kelly, Carol, and I are going to be doing a short presentation. We're going to set up a exercise where we're going out at around 10 o'clock, and we're going to divide you in groups. We're going to take a walk through part of the campus. We have a form that we're going to share with you called Placemaking, which is going to lead you through as a group, identifying some opportunities and issues, facing the campus today. Hope, the experience of walking the campus will be helpful to you, to refresh your memory, and we'll explain that in a little bit more detail. Then we will come back to this room. We continue to work in your group in markets and farmers markets, and so we combine these sort of approaches in this project. PBS's work was based on our mentor, who was William H. Holly White. He started observing how people actually used public spaces in the 1960s and 1970s. He wrote quite a wonderful book called The Social Life of Smaller Spaces, and which is still actually available on our website. In the book, he explains some very basic principles about public space. He makes some very wonderful observations about space. You know, considering this was 50 years ago, a lot of this is still relevant. I love this quote: "It's hard to create a space that will not attract people. What is remarkable is how often this is accomplished." And, you know, we all know spaces in cities that, you know, are sitting underperforming and not really living up to their full potential. Another wonderful observation he made is that people sit where there are places to sit. He was actually studying, you know, plazas in New York. He could not understand why people weren't using these plazas. It turned out there were very few places to sit. This particular example is a new waterfront park in Detroit, where all the benches were placed along the walkway facing the river. The problem was they were in the sun, and we were brought in to solve this terrible problem. And we ended up, you know, buying a bunch of panoramic chairs that people could move into the shade. So sometimes these things are really simple. We call this lighter, quicker, cheaper. What can you do in the short term? Doesn't cost a lot of money. You can start experimenting right away. This is a very fundamental one. What attracts people, it appears, is other people. This is a space at Harvard University. It used to be just an empty, sort of big, empty space. Went over a street and connected two sides of the campus. Harvard was really interested in breaking down the silos of its different academic specialties, each one was located in a different building. And so they've been focusing on creating common spaces in the campus. This is one of them, that with food trucks and, you know, take places to sit. It's programmed for the actual farmers market there. All the kind of activities happen. And when people go to a place, then more people want to be there. If you want to see a place with activity, just put up the, you know that from the market, but any kind of food festival, any kind of food truck, you know, it's one of the easiest ways you can use to kind of animate in space. So this diagram explains some of the basic principles that we're going to be applying to the community center campus this morning. The place has a variety of activities. It's safe, it's comfortable, it's attractive, it's connected, it's accessible. You know, and if all these ingredients work well, like really it's a social place where you come together and it really becomes a meeting place in the community. And you know, a lot of that is already obviously happening in this campus, and the building is definitely an example of it. The outer ring is just some of the qualitative ways people use to describe these quality of the space, that they're attractive and vital and safe. Either the more qualitative than the outer ring are like measurements, and you know, more and more we're looking at how you measure the impact of placemaking on communities in terms of, you know, enhancing social networks and stimulating economic opportunity. You know, places generate a lot of value, and that value can be captured by a community in many ways. So we always say that the community is the expert. We're here, kind of standing up here in front of this meeting, you look like experts, but you're really the experts on this particular space. We're just kind of creating a framework for you ideas and opportunities that people might come up with and figure out, like, how can we actually make this happen. So our process is relatively simple. Trying my laser pointer didn't go. So the first step is to identify the place and the stakeholders who are here. We evaluate the space and identify issues. That's really what we're doing today. And our goal at Athens is to create a place vision. And that's all we're doing today. This is the first step, as I say, in the process. Out of this process, ultimately, will come, the lighter, cheaper, short-term things that can be done right away. You'll be asked to come up with some of those ideas today, and as well as the sort of longer-term plans for the campus. And the word campus kind of implies certain things. The word park implies things in people's minds. We like to think about public spaces as multi-use destinations. And a multi-use destination, has a variety of things for people to do. One of the ways you can think about what a multi-use destination is using a principle we call power of 10. If you look at the diagram here, this is just a diagram of a park in New York City, where within the park there's a place in the park, shown to the lower left here, with a food kiosk and fountain. There are 10 things for people to do in that place. And that park has 10 of these, at least 10 of these destinations in the park. And this park is one of 10 parks, 10 plus parks, that are really have formed, people think that there's been a remarkable transformation of New York City. What they're really saying is there's been a remarkable transformation of the public spaces in New York City. When I first moved to New York, a lot of the parks were, really drug dealing, they were empty, abandoned. It's the revitalization of public spaces, which has made a major contributor towards the revitalization of the city itself. So a multi-use destination, following Power 10, has a variety of attractions and things to do. The idea of clustering destinations. So you have a series of places in any space like the campus, but how do you get them to have some synergy between them? People don't use one thing and then go on to the next. So think about, when we think about this idea here, then once you have these destinations, how do you connect them? Here's a park in California, Davis, California. The heart of the park happens to be the market, but the market is only one piece of it. There's really vital, neighborhood park around it with, some spray fountains for kids, and there's a ton of programming that goes on the lawn. And the market is there, and it's a multi-use pavilion that's, 1 or 2 days a week. But it functions, more holistically than just as a market location. We worked on this park a number of years ago, also in California. The park originally was, a pretty basic park. It had a playground and basketball courts and all the things you would expect to see in a park. But adjacent to, you can see it comes down to kind of an L there. The part that comes out to the corner was a vacant lot and had some sort of, I think, the grocery store. It had been demolished. It became a site for the farmers market. And the city decided to combine the vacant lot with the rest of the park and redesign the park so that the market would be incorporated in the park. So there's a sort of grove of trees over there, which is where the market is. But again, there are a lot of other things going on. There's a library, there is a senior center within the park. The spaces within the park have places for people to gather. This is the market. The picnic areas, barbecues for the neighbors to come in and cook and have birthday parties and informal areas, little areas is on the rocks, and the open green area where the vacant lot used to be is, a playing field that's very heavily used for both organized sports as well as sort of more pickup activities. And lastly, this is a campus in Houston, Texas. This is was in a vacant site and then a nursing home with these really remarkable trees, which were kind of a defining feature. The sponsoring organization of this campus owns a series of neighborhood centers around the city, and they really wanted to make this a really mixed-use, multi-use destination. So we started in a workshop very much like what we have today. And the first part of this was really coming up with a program for what are the uses that are going to be on this campus. In this case, we were operating from a slate. We began to think about how they might relate next. And out of this came a really pretty remarkable program of schools and arts activities and after-school classes in a cafe, a research shop, a shared use commercial kitchen at the marketplace. And the actual final result shows us a campus of a lot of flexible spaces, like those spaces in the lower part of the screen can be used for festivals or markets or a lot of different community activities. There's a little play area, whatever. But each space on the campus is very multi-purpose. And even there's a theater in the space that has a two-sided stage. So it can face inside of the room. Or it would be like this space that would have a stage that would face outside for outside events as well. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. She's going to walk you through a little bit more of what we're actually going to be doing this morning here.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be back. It's also nice to be back, as Steve said, on a sunny, warm-ish day. So we're now going to turn a little bit more to our activity for this morning and really having, as Steve said, you all create this vision for your own community space. This isn't about our vision. This is purely, we're here as kind of the facilitators so that you can do this for your own community space. As Steve mentioned, he's been here 3 times. This is my 2nd time. We were here last year at the kickoff of this project, and we had several meetings, some stakeholder meetings that included meeting with some of the people with the city, some folks with the Arts Guild, with the farmers market, some folks, trying to remember who else. Leslie has a better handle on everybody. It was a long time ago, but we did have several meetings with people. Some of the slides we showed this morning they've seen already, so we were kind of getting those juices flowing. But we wanted to get a sense of where this project is to date and what are kind of the challenges and opportunities as we move into the visioning process. So this is just an overview of what we heard when we were here last year. And that really, basically the overview is that this is already a space of activity, of recreation, and that there's, always unlimited opportunity to do more of these kinds of activities here, and that's what a lot of people are interested in. That, if the market is relocated to the site, how can it be a good neighbor to the other uses within the campus? How can it be, as Steve has already shown, flexible so that it can be used for multiple things throughout the week and throughout the year, and it's not exclusively for one use only? And how can there be even potentially more other uses that might accommodate that space and really keep this whole campus active in a positive way throughout the weeks and throughout the year? Some of the challenges is that it is an existing site. This isn't a blank slate. There's a lot of pieces to this that are already happening. We're right in front of a skate park, a hockey rink. There's a dog park over there. There's play space. There's the pool. So there's a lot that's already happening. People are connected to those uses, have strong feelings about where they are and what they are, and want to advocate on their behalf. And we're very familiar with that. This isn't our first time working in a place that has kind of already had something going on, and so the idea today is, again, for you, the people who live here, the people who use the space, to think about how we can make all of that better and better connected. And so when we were here in March, we also did a little bit of a Power of 10 exercise. So kind of using that idea of Power of 10 that Steve talked about to apply it to this space. And, you know, the good news is we hit well over 10. You know, that number isn't like a perfect number, sometimes it's 8. In this case, I think it's 15. So there's so many assets here that we can build off of. And in some ways, it's not about changing anything, it's really about better connecting them to each other. So that the idea is that, you know, you are a family, you might come for one use, but then other members of your family might be using another area, and everybody's got something to do, and it's not, you're not kind of siloed into one specific use. So as you can see here, there's a lot to work with, and as we mentioned earlier, we're going to get out there and kind of observe and really feel the space with this idea in mind of how do we connect and really amplify all of these uses into a great public space. So just showing a few examples of incorporating pavilions and flexible space and into existing uses. This is a town about 40 or so minutes outside of Pittsburgh, Washington, Pennsylvania, about 25,000 people. Rust Belt town that kind of was suffering a little bit. Its main street was a lot of vacancies. They started a farmer's market in the evening on a Thursday in this what was a parking lot here. And it was successful right off the bat. So it became a real gathering place for people to come together and kind of bring a little life back to Main Street. They had this nice little gazebo space, so they were already doing programming. They were thinking about having live music, cooking demonstrations, activities for kids. So it was a lively space, but they felt like it had a lot more opportunity and possibility. This is the space before. So when the market was not there, it's just a regular parking lot for the community. And so one of our suggestions to them was, what if you built a pavilion? Because this would give you a more kind of permanent space for the community, for the market, but the market had no intention of being more than a one-night market a week. So obviously it's like, what else could this be? It could be covered parking, it could be, you know, community event space, and so they really ran with that idea. Took them about, I want to say, 6 to 8 years to raise the funding for this. They're a smaller town, Athens obviously, but they are also a university town, so they worked with a variety of different stakeholders in the region and raised the money over time from, you know, multiple sources to a tune of $875,000. So that's what it cost for them to do this project. So this is it in construction. It's sort of a funny parking lot. It's a 2-level parking lot. So they ended up with 2 of these pavilions at different elevations. So this is on the Thursday evening when the market is there, so now they have, you know, protection from the elements, a little bit of a nicer space, kind of, you can have permanent signage for the market. But then what this really did was open up opportunities for the community to do even more. So now they've expanded, they have holiday markets run by other organizations, they hold community events and meetings in this space, and they are pretty famous in the region for this Whiskey Rebellion Festival, which was someplace else and actually relocated to the downtown Main Street area to take advantage of this pavilion. And this has been really successful. The Main Street is now, you know, seeing more new small businesses opening up and the vacant stores that in a lot of ways have actually spun off of the market. So they have kind of an interesting connection now with more food and more local distilleries and beer being sold now on Main Street in the shops. Another example is down south in Spartanburg, South Carolina. PPS actually worked with this market back in the early 2000s to find a location for it, an original home for it, which they found at an old train depot area. And it was very successful. It was a very popular spot, but it was too successful. It outgrew its original home. So they had an opportunity to move a little bit further down the road into a slightly different neighborhood and a little bit of funding to build kind of a small park, much smaller than the space we have here, but the opportunity came to put in a pavilion, and that market decided to move to this new location. And there's a couple of other uses, a community garden, a cafe. And the thing that is important to know about this is that this pavilion is not actually that big. It's not big enough for the entire market. So located, this is a shot, you can see the signage up there for the farmer's market, but right next door is this plaza space. So half the vendors are under the pavilion, half the vendors are in this plaza, and interestingly, the vendors that are on the plaza actually asked to be there. They liked using their own pop-up tents, liked being able to access their vehicles, right, which they couldn't do as easily from the pavilion. So a lot of the kind of anchor tenants, the bigger produce farmers, are down here on the plaza, and some of the smaller tenants are up in the pavilion, and it works really nicely. We were called back there a couple of years ago, though, because it was a pavilion that had no other programming happening the rest of the week. So this was active 1-2 days a week, and the rest of the week it was kind of sad and just sitting there. And so we really made some strong recommendations that they start to program the space the other days of the week, and they've done that since then. So you can see here, it's like a community, one of these white dinners that they do, where everybody dresses up in white and brings their food. They string the lights, and they can have events in here. And in this other example of a special event, they're actually using that plaza space as well as the pavilion. So it's really about what other uses could be in this space to really make this an important space for the community. And then last, we have Nubo City Market in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This is a bigger scale, but I don't want to talk about the building. I want to talk about what they call their front lawn of the building. And that is right in the center of a neighborhood, kind of Main Street area. They call it the Nubo, it's the Nubo neighborhood. They call it Nubo's living room, this front lawn. And you can see it's a mixture of plaza, kind of paver space, and green. And they can have these big events, these concerts here. But they also have, smaller scale events like community yoga on the grass and car shows, and they can, start and end like bike races and foot races here. And it's become a huge gathering space for Cedar Rapids, not just for this neighborhood, but for the entire region and city region. So we today are going to turn our attention after this presentation to actually doing something, getting out, as Steve mentioned, walking around, working in our small groups. And this is the tool that we're going to use, the Placemaking. We've been using this for years as a way to kind of evaluate how well space is functioning and to start to think about what our vision is for the future. It's based on the what makes a great place diagram, which Steve already talked about. So I just want to quickly go through some examples of each of these that we're sort of potentially might want to see in this space. So starting with access and linkages, this is really about how do you get to the space. So in this instance, how do you get to the campus, and how do you work within the campus? How do you move within the campus? How do you get from use to use within the campus? We want to be thinking about both of those things. How walkable? How is there transit access? Is it bikeable? Is there parking for vehicles? How close is it to other uses, so people might be drawn to this space because they're coming for a variety of other reasons in the neighborhood. So things to think about, is again, getting pedestrians feeling comfortable, slowing down vehicles within the campus so that pedestrians feel like they can walk from use to use. Ways that we've seen communities do this is, doing some small things like painting the crosswalks. You can be really creative, get local artists and kids involved in this. And what it does is it tells pedestrians they are welcome, that they are a priority within the space. This could also be done kind of outside the campus, connecting to the campus. It also slows cars down because it's more than just sort of white stripes in the road. It's something really vibrant that attracts their eye and their attention and slows their vehicles down. Thinking about signage and sense of arrival. Do people know where they are when they arrive here? Do they know what they can do once they get here relatively quickly upon entering the space? So, there's a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of uses already here, but if you came in, would you know that? And so it's thinking about wayfinding once you're even in this area and really highlighting all the fun things that people can do once they're here. We're always trying to encourage more walking and more biking, and sometimes it's as simple as just telling people that it's actually not that far. So this is a pretty big campus, and if you had folks all the way over by the community garden and they might want to check out, the hockey or the skate park, some of these kinds of signs that just say, it's a 2-minute walk to the hockey rink. This is obviously a lot longer. It's a 16-minute walk to the Seaboard Station, but you can model, your own version of these signs within the campus to just show people that, different uses throughout here are really not that far away and kind of get people moving by foot. We have a lot of opportunity here with the bike path down by the riverfront, so we want to be thinking today, especially about how we can encourage more biking happening here and actually potentially having fewer cars coming into the space and maybe encouraging more biking to come here. This is in Oregon, a farmer's market that's located right along the bike path that's very heavily used. And, of course, if you're going to encourage people to bike to the market or to any of the uses within the campus here, you need to be thinking about bike parking. I saw you have lovely new bike parking by the pool. So I think you've got that pretty much covered, but this is just an example of a market that I worked on in Pittsburgh in a parking lot. And because it's just one day a week and it's a parking lot, it did not have bike parking. So they brought in temporary bike parking every farmer's market day and just popped this up, and people were encouraged to, actually you can see they were locking up more than just their bikes, they were locking up their strollers as well. So. And then of course, we do live in a society where vehicles are still ever present, so we have to be mindful of that and cognizant of making sure there's enough parking, especially if what we're doing today is really kind of advocating for more better uses of the activity and space in here. This is an example from Houston that Steve showed earlier, but I just want to highlight how there's a ton of parking here. But what they did was they kind of put it in such a way that it was on the outer edges of the campus. So, the experience of being in the campus and of using all of the multiple things that are happening here is not brought down by making your way through moving vehicles or past parked cars. So they were very aware of how to both make sure there's enough parking, but also not make the parking the most important part of the space or the biggest use of the space. Uses and activities, we have something to start with here, but what other things could be here? How else could this space be used? And how could we ensure that the uses that are here are for everybody in the community and not just one particular group? So things that we've seen there, having pop-up classes in community spaces, just putting up a tent and having classes, having health fairs. A lot of times it's easier to interact with the public around public health issues if you're not in a scary hospital or clinic with a white coat on. So making those more fun and outside. Doing big kind of community space events around movie night, or this photo on the bottom right is in Portland, Maine at the I think it was for the World Series, when the Red Sox were in the World Series. Somebody dragged their TV out into a public plaza and everybody came to watch the game together. That can be done with a large screen as well for some kind of sports event or some big event, and have everybody come for that. Obviously, kids programming is always very popular, story times, or on the bottom right, this is in Providence, Rhode Island. These are actually Lego tables. So they're tables where they put the flat Lego is glued to the table itself, and then they just put a pile of Lego pieces out, and the kids can sit there for hours and just build off of those tables. Imaginary playground. This is, instead of having to put $500,000 playground into a space, this is like $5,000, and it can be taken away and put away at night or when it's raining, but when it's put out, the kids just build and create using this space, and they love it. It keeps them really occupied for a long time. Of course, dog parks. We have a dog park now, so we're very aware of how important that is in this space. And here's just some examples of other areas where down the bottom where they've kind of had like a small dog area and a larger dog area and a lot of activities for the dogs to do. Up at the top, these are two examples of dog parks, relatively new ones, that actually have a special kind of turf put in. So it's very easy to clean the grass for the dogs, and it's easier to maintain than regular grass. It doesn't get like dirty or dusty. And so that's, really keeps it nice and green for the dogs and for those that are using it. Especially when you have a market, it's fun to sometimes bring in some of the farm animals and have, small petting zoos, temporary petting zoos, and then lawn games are always a really popular thing to pull out. And again, a lot of these examples are, as Steve mentioned, lighter, quicker, cheaper. These are not, big infrastructure and capital improvements. This is stuff that can happen very quickly to activate the space. And of course, as we've shown, weddings, family reunions, the pavilion, special events. Comfort and image is really about how people feel in the space and how comfortable they are, how welcome they are. Is the space green? Is it shaded? Does it make them feel like a place that they want to be for a while? So, obviously one of the important things to, include is lots of places to sit, as Steve mentioned, so tables and chairs. And of course, we are very strong advocates for movable tables and chairs because we'd like people to feel like they can cluster themselves under a tree if that's what they want to do, or go off by themselves with a book if they want to read quietly, and that they're welcome to do that. And of course, shade is important. So you have a lot of amazing trees here to work with. I think that's really a great asset. But then, in the places where it's a lot of sun, just kind of thinking about umbrellas or other shade structures to keep people comfortable, and they'll stick around a lot longer in the space. And then, public art is, of course, people love to include public art. I think the important thing to consider is that it can be really whimsical when it's in these kind of spaces that are used by everybody in the community. It doesn't have to be something that you stand there and just look at and observe and then move on. It can be like these, incorporated as part of the seating, or as something that the kids can actually feel like is a play space. So being, really opening your mind to how art can be incorporated in a way that is adding, more than just the art, but adding an actual amenity. And then even, we showed those tables and chairs, and people have a tendency to think benches, and now more and more of those kind of regular tables and chairs, but seating can be done in a variety of ways. And this is actually on Governor's Island in New York City. There's a whole field of hammocks that are incredibly popular. People kind of run to go get them and snag them. But this idea that you can get really creative in the kind of seating or the kind of amenities that you add for people, and people really enjoy it. The space where you're doing it becomes kind of known for that, and people are drawn to it because it's unique. And then lastly, it's about sociability, and this is that, the intangible connections that you're making with people. Is this a space that makes you feel proud of where you're from, and that you want to bring people to when you have visitors in town, and that that if you go there, you're always going to run into somebody and have one of those great conversations on the fly. And so these are just examples of, what we want to always. The ultimate goal in any of these public spaces we work in are these kind of moments where people grab some rocking chairs in a plaza and push them into the shade, and they have a conversation with their neighbors. Or in the case of Detroit, where we have put in a beach, a bunch of sand in the middle of downtown, there was music playing, and where a group of people just spontaneously started doing the hustle. And then where people feel like they can gather, and say, this is our space, and we're having a community dinner, and we're going to do it in this space because this is really what makes us proud to be in this community. So that's, what we're ultimately trying to achieve with this vision. So we're moving on now to the second part of this workshop, which is really where you all get to do the work now. So what we're going to do for the rest of this time, there's an agenda on each table, so you can check it out. but we're gonna spend some time in small groups walking. There's 2 routes that we're gonna take, depending on your group. So we're gonna take people out in small groups, walking parts of the site, spending some time out there. We're handing out place games right now, so everybody will have that place game I mentioned, where you'll be in your small group. Every small group will have a facilitator, and you will have an opportunity to observe the site. I really recommend, this isn't about walking quickly, this is about kind of observing as you're going, looking out for some of those things I pointed out, like signage, wayfinding, how does it feel to be a pedestrian in the space, and then when you get to where the dots are, your facilitators will know this. Taking a little bit of time to start to answer some of the questions in the place game. And once we wrap up the portion out on the site, we'll come back here and we'll have time within our small groups to continue to answer some of the questions in the place game, come up with ideas. There'll be large black and white maps of this without the walking route, so you can draw, you can create new pathways if you want, parking areas, uses and activities, build whatever you want on those maps, and then you'll have time to synthesize your thoughts from the place game, from the maps, and report back to the whole group on what your group's vision will be for this. So I'm going to hand it over to these guys to explain the small groups a little bit, because I think we might be, we're going to now